you lost your job, you got no more, you know, now you have no income. The other is you're now free to do whatever you want. And that's the problem right now, right? This is a dilemma I've been thinking about too. Like, what happens if I create an AI robot program to replace all the teachers of the world, right? So all the teachers now have no job, right? Now they can be a ballet dancer, do whatever they want, but how are they going to fund it, right? All the money they make is going to come to me as royalty payment, right? And the government is supposed to tax me, take the money, give it back to them. But as we know, the government is not very efficient in doing it. And that's the other issue. I mean, you can go down the path of France, right? In France, if you make over 1 million euros, you are taxed at 90% over your million euro. But then the argument is like, you need more than €1 million a year to be really happy. So it's kind of a difficult question. So one of the solutions we're looking at now is the basic income. You heard about universal basic income. Now, Switzerland voted, you know, I think 33% voted for it, but it was lost. And they were going to give 2,300 euros to every single citizen. There will be no more food stamps or any other aid. But then it's enough money to meet your basic needs, so you can go out and try different things and take a risk if you want to. I mean, it's not a new idea. I mean, Martin Luther King actually suggested it a while ago. So I think that trying this in Finland, Canada, and Alaska already has some form of it. And one interesting thing too is that, you know, if any of you are economists and you know about the game theory, like what's the most rational decision you should make. If you're a homeless person, you can't afford to have, you know, you don't have shelter, right? And obviously not in the Gold Coast, because Gold Coast, a lot of people are homeless by choice and still the beach and not die. But in Utah, right, in Utah it's actually very cold, and you could actually freeze to death if you don't have shelter. So what happened in Utah 7 years ago, they actually tried giving homeless people shelter, give them homes. They found that when they actually give people, you know, shelter, people are actually able then to rebuild their life, and they're then able to, you know, go out and actually at the end of the day, it costs the government less money because the prisons are not, you know, being overflowed. Because think about it, if you're a homeless person, right, in game theory, you know, look at the upside and downside. What is the impact of me robbing, you know, a liquor store, right? If I get caught, I have food and shelter. If I don't get caught, I also have food and shelter. So my rational action is to commit a crime, right? Which is kind of what forcing everybody to do. So there's interesting things that you think about. The other thing that I was trying to tell the Gold Coast City Council people, or maybe the Queensland government, that we should create an e-Queensland or e-Gold Coast. Estonia did. Anybody heard about e-Estonia? So e-Estonia came out about 2-3 years ago. They allow any company in the world to set up in Estonia and become an e-citizen of Estonia. You go online, you can do it right now. Go online, answer a couple of questions. Within 6 weeks or so, you go to the embassy and they might interview you, and then if you're approved as an e-citizen, they will give you this digital dongle, and you are now an e-citizen. You can set up a company, set up a bank, and you are now basically an entity in Estonia, pay no tax unless you make income in Estonia. So something that you could do, you know, which Estonia is actually doing it really well, and they don't even, you know, English not in their first language. So yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can, you know, create bank accounts. Now let me show you some of the Singularity projects that came out of Singularity that inspired me. I mean, Blue Box is an interesting one. They hacked a Blu-ray player and allow you to put a drop of blood on a special DVD, and it will scan your blood for pathogen and tell you whether you have HIV or any other disease on your phone. This one really inspired me. This is Medic Sensation. This is a girl from Indonesia won a competition, Singularity competition, which we actually organized a couple in the Gold Coast, and we sent 2 Australians to the program. This one allows women to check their own breasts for lumps, and basically, you know, in countries where there are no roads and no power, you know, how are you going to bring a mammogram machine in? This glove has got sensors on the glove and an SD card. The data gets stored on the card, and the card is mailed off to the nearest place where you can start upload the information to a doctor who can analyze it and then provide the prescription of what you need to do. But the story doesn't end there. What inspired me is that this Indonesian girl worked with 2 Israeli guys, a medical doctor from Harvard and an engineer from MIT. Now, in the real world, right, it'll be very hard for them to actually meet up because one is an Islamic nation and the other is a Jewish state. But at Singularity they met, and they actually set up a company in Chile. because Chilean government has this policy that allows startups to go out there, and if your idea is big enough, they give you, I think, $40,000 US to start a company, and the only proviso is to stay there for 6 months. That's it. There's no other, other bonds or anything required. Because when you bring a bunch of smart people together, magic happens, right? People like you guys coming together and start changing ideas, and that's what we need to do here. So this is a company from Singularity Modern Meadow. They are 3D printing beef and leather from stem cells. And I saw this in 2011, but it was in the closed doors of NASA, because in America you're not allowed to eat anything you produce from the lab unless you go through very stringent FDA stuff. Unless you're in the US military. The US military is exempted from FDA, as Bill will tell you. Good friend here, Bill Cayley, who trains Americans at West Point. So you can 3D print beef and leather, and so I tell my vegan friends, right? At the end of the day, all of us will be vegan, because no animals are going to be killed. This beef is actually 3D printed. No animals were killed. And when they did it in 2011, the burger tasted great. The bad news was it cost $10 million. Fast forward 2013, in Museum of Metric in London, another group, 3D printed beef, cost was down to 300,000 pounds. Today it's down to about 10,000 US. So it's coming down. Once you hit about 1,000, then you're competing with Wagyu and the rest. So it's coming. So this is going to obviously have impact on the farms and cattle and so on. But then again, one of the biggest problems in climate, the climate issue we have is livestock, right? From the water and from the methane that you produce and so on. This is a company actually invested in, a Singularity company called Focus at Will. For those of you who are still studying and need to concentrate on your work, check it out. Focus at Will. Listen to the music for 45 minutes. Your productivity will improve up to 300%. Never met the guy until like a couple of years ago. His name is Bill Henshaw, that's why I Focus at Will. He used to be the lead guitarist for the Eurythmics, and then he had a group called the London Underground Beat or something in the 90s, and had a big hit. And he asked me, do I know this hit? And I said, sorry, I stopped listening to all the top of pops after the 80s and 80 guys, right? So he said, really, haven't heard my song? I said, no. Anyway, I met him, and this product is working really well. It's on all the Sonos app right now. And one of the major banks here was going to adopt it, because if you listen to the music, it's not relaxing though, it makes you more productive. So they got different and it's published a paper, an academic paper, showing that the MRI brain of people listening to it, you can see that it goes into a flow state. So Glenn might be good for you when you're writing a book. Another company with Singularity called Fellow Robots, they're helping Lowe's. Lowe's is like the Bunnings in America. So this robot can basically understand about 19 languages. You take a tool or a screw or a bolt to the robot, show it to it, and it will take you to the aisle where the product is. So, like most of you go to Bunnings or go to Masters, or I guess Masters is closing down. Kind of hard to find somebody to help you, right? Sometimes. So now all they're going to show it to a robot, and they'll basically take you there. So this is a Baxter, right? It's a robot that now only costs about $25,000. So one of the future of robotics is not just robot by itself, it's robot and humans working together. Because robot and humans working together will actually give you higher productivity than just getting a robot by itself. Obviously, you can replace the human. And maybe robots are taking over jobs that are dangerous or menial that people don't want to do, like in hospitals. The robots are replacing nurses to replace bedpans, right? Nurses don't want to do bedpans, cleaning up and so on. We rather take care of patients. So it allows them to do that. Anyway, my good friend, Professor Jun Jo, is the director of robotics at Griffith. If you guys want to know more about robots and drones, he's sitting at the back. This is one I want him to develop for me, a robot chef. Have you guys seen this? It'll be our end this year. I think 15,000 pounds or $50,000. It cooks for you 2,000 recipes. It learns from a master chef winner in UK, right? And I think it's really cool. So that's the master chef winner. And so when he cooks, the robot actually learns what, how he makes his movements and so on, and what ingredients he uses. You pick what you want, and the robot will actually do the entire cooking for you. And even put your dishes into the dishwasher. So there you go. Yeah, sorry, the video is a bit off. Anyway, So some of the things I've been doing, right? I mean, I've been mentoring, this is a friend of mine, he couldn't make it today, Mark McConville. Not sure if you guys heard of him. He's a comedian. I came back from Singularity back in 2011, and he told me the story about how he's inspired and how people, help prevent suicide through the use of comedy. And I said, well, how did this come about? He said he was doing a deep on board a cruise ship, and a lady came up to him after the gig and tears in her eyes and said, well, what's wrong? He said, thank you, Mark. I said, what did I do? He said, my husband came back from Afghanistan, had not laughed or smiled for the last 18 months. After tonight, he's back to normal. So it hit him that comedy could perhaps be used to prevent suicide and improve productivity in the workplace and so on. But I said, look, Mark, you need to basically, get some academic standing and research, because you can't just go and tell the government you need grant from an anecdotal evidence. And he said, well, I'm a high school dropout, right? I'm a boilermaker by training. I've been a comedian for the last 13 years. So I said, well, you can go online, right? Go online, go to udacity.com or go to udemy.com. And this guy actually listens to the advice I told him. He actually went and took a course in public health and depression from Johns Hopkins University and got a distinction in struggle, he was a high school dropout. But based on that, I helped him get into Griffith University graduate diploma in suicide prevention. And he graduated, last year. And now he's doing his master's. And you can hear him on the radio on ABC. He's actually one of the most referred to person on youth suicide and stuff like that, in trying to use comedy to prevent it. So it's very satisfying to do things like that. This is 2014. So Mark was the 2013 runner-up at Singularity competition we had in 2013. In 2014, we were co-sponsored by Griffith University. Is Mark here? Marty was one of our supporters, and also the Hackett Foundation and Gold City Council. And it was had to be in the area of energy, clean tech, and environment. So Susan Grant, this girl from Sydney, she won the competition. Her idea was biocarbon engineering, how to plant 1 billion trees using drones. You can already use drones to shoot people. So shooting a seed pod isn't very difficult. So that's what they're doing right now. They're trialing in South Africa right now. So they're shooting seed pods into, and drones get higher. Another company on the Gold Coast, Sally Health Networks, I think it's not here, Dr. Ramana Panda, a friend of mine. He is basically has 11 devices that allow you to do telehealth remotely, particularly for the indigenous community. So one of the problems we have in Australia, particularly in Queensland, is we build all these expensive hospitals, and then we fly all these cardiologists out into the outback and try to get the screening done for the indigenous population. But very few show up, because for them a hospital is a stigma, it's a place where you go and die. So nobody shows up. So what happened now is they provide this equipment to test your blood, test your heart remotely in the community, and they can call up a cardiologist in Prince Charles Hospital and essentially be able to prescribe medication and so forth. Because if your blood pressure change, your sugar level change, right now they travel 6 hours at least into the nearest clinical hospital to get prescriptions. One other area I talk about is gamification. Yeah, we all like to play games, right? It's my son playing computer games, right? Trying to keep a mother away from the machine, watching TV, listening to music, doing all kinds of stuff at the same time. Which is why, we kind of think like the education system is kind of behind time, right? Because the kids at home is doing multiple things. When you go to school, they got to shut everything and listen to the teacher. If they don't, then they have ADHD. Then we drop them, right? So then we say, well, how come they're not creative? So it's a bit of an issue, isn't it? So basically, why do we like to play games? Wait, do you guys play games? It's fine. Why do we like to play games? Because we like to solve problems, right? Humans like to solve problems. And in the game, you know there's a solution. And when you solve it, you level up and go to the next level. But how can you make use of this innate need to play games into something useful? And I'll show you. So the first one, the easiest example I can show you is what happened in Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. Somehow boys and men like to aim at stuff when they go to the urinals. No instruction manual required. Just by sticking this little sticker on the urinals, they have 82% cleaner toilets. That's the easiest gamification I can show you. Alright, now we go to a bit more complex ones.